is happening, everybody? My name is Beth and welcome back to Every Day is Spooktober. Now it's been a minute again, but we are getting back on track with these videos. As we know, Spooktober is soon approaching, so stay tuned for some fun themed horror videos that will be coming your way. But for today, I decided to visit another film that was recommended by Possessed by Horror. I've talked about her before. She's another YouTuber who does reviews and things like that, and she recommended this movie and said it was like a very underrated film that not a lot of people talk about. So I decided to flick it on, and yeah, we are talking about The Midnight Meat Train starring Bradley Cooper. So yeah, let's just get into the review. So obviously this film, I didn't know anything about this film, like I said, apart from the whole fact that Possessed by Horror, she recommended it to people, so I thought I would give it a go. I'm a bit of a photographer myself, and I know this kind of film kind of revolves around Bradley Cooper's character, like going around and taking photographs to try and basically impress and get into this art show, make him kind of be his big break, I guess, and kind of help him out with getting his photographs out there. So this is a really fun and interesting like story for a horror film. When I was watching it, I was like, it was an interesting story. Like, this is definitely like, it feels like a murder mystery serial killer type of movie, and I don't know about you, but I definitely love that kind of thing. And it was also a horror film with a story, and that is what is so important. And like, considering this was made in like the 2000s, like mid 2000s, I was quite I was quite pleased to be seeing a film with like some actual substance to it, because like I've spoken about multiple times, nowadays films very much like to just rely on the jump scares and not have any real substance or actual horrifying moments to it, whereas this one really kept you engaged. Like, I was watching this with my sister and we wanted to know more. We wanted to keep watching, and it was thoroughly enjoyable and interesting. I thought the characters were quite fun. We have our sort of villain known as Mahogany. He's obviously used to be an ex-footballer, I believe. And he plays a very interesting character as well, because he doesn't have barely any lines. So he's giving sort of like Michael Myers, where like he just kind of stands there and stalks and kills and doesn't really say anything about it. So I think the use of sort of a villain like that was quite fun and interesting. I do think that if they added dialogue to his character, it would have made it a bit more cheesy. But it made it a lot more mysterious. There wasn't a lot given away as to why this guy, Mahogany, is killing people on this train. Obviously, the whole sort of setup to, finding out where this train goes and why this guy is killing people is the main sort of what you want to know by the end of the story in the film. So it was quite, I think it was quite interesting to kind of see the fact that to see like all these killings happen, and then you're like, I want to know more. So it definitely is paced well, it's set up very well. You want to know more, you're waiting to find out, and you want to keep watching. So I think the way that this film was written and the way that it was paced was great. Like I said, it had a lot of story to it, so there's something to kind of keep you engaged throughout, and then obviously the final goal is finding out what the hell's going on. The way this movie ends, right? The turn it takes at the end, I was not expecting it to go to that down that route, I guess, because it's very, I guess you could say, like supernatural monster creature kind of vibe. I wasn't expecting that at all. I was expecting just like him to kind of be a regular serial killer and maybe just have some like weird dark dungeon at the end of the train line where he like eats people, or like it didn't seem like there was this kind of species that lived down there, and the reason he's collecting these bodies and dissecting them is to feed this other species that he is a part of. But like I said, it took a very different turn and took me by surprise, which I tend to like that, because it's different. You know me, different is good, and out-the-box ideas are great. So like I said, the fact that it shocked me and the fact that I didn't expect it to happen, I really, really like that. I think the way we find out is quite unsettling. You're waiting to the very last moment to find out what's actually going on. Although I have to admit, I think there could have been a bit more exploration of this like species, because we don't really get much context at all as to why they do this, who they are, why do they live down there, like, you know what I mean? There could have maybe been some more context as to this, how the species works. But you know, I think it's just a very fun full circle moment for Leon to obviously then become the new Mahogany and basically collect the bodies on the last train for the creatures to feed on. I think that was all really cool. Don't get me wrong, I think this film definitely could have like a sequel, or it could have an addition to like what this species is like, but then I think it would turn into a very different film then. It would be more sort of like fantasy, thriller, horror, rather than this sort of murder mystery, which is what you think it is throughout the whole thing. But yeah, like I said, I think the whole story in general was quite fun to watch. It was unexpected, it was different, took weird turns and etc, etc. One thing I want to talk about in this movie is the editing style and the gore. So the first half of the movie, the like death score and everything, they're just really they're done in a very goofy and silly way. It's like it gave off, it was a bit comedic at times how these like CGI shots were filmed with like people's heads getting bashed in and like eyeballs falling out of their heads. Like it was very comedic. The editing was very strange, the way that they were like trying to show and interpret like this crazy like gory scenes taking place. I wasn't the biggest fan of that, but it was definitely giving me that like early 2000 horror movie vibes, which was kind of nostalgic to see because just of the way it was done, and it being like a fairly old film. So it was funny and like nostalgic to see it, but I think that it wasn't as effective like we could have done with like James Wan Saw like bloody effects rather than what we were seeing. And I think like this film's very, very bloody anyway in itself, and I think that if they took the gore seriously and they didn't put that whole like goofy twist on it, this could be like an even like gross or, you know, gruesome film, and just add a bit more to it. But this was like a good level of gore for me. Like normally I say in films like, oh, it could have been gorier, there could have been more blood. This one had a decent amount, and it really was effective, apart from those like the scenes that looked a bit goofy. But like it was very effective, like seeing some people get dissected, and like the fighting sequences were just like super crazy, and like it was a very sort of dark and demented film, and I think the gore played a big sort of place in that. You know, this was one of those films for me as well where after I watched it, it definitely like repeated on me. So like it was like I was still thinking about it, and it was like kind of off-putting to think about because it was kind of like gross and gory, and like I said, it kind of repeated on me a bit, and it like still had me thinking. So this film is definitely effective. It's definitely like a good like 2000 film to watch. Like I said, I really enjoyed it, and it was quite nostalgic. Like I said, the acting was good. Really shocked to see Bradley Cooper in a horror film, because that's just not normally what he does, but I guess it was a bit earlier in his career to do that. But Maya was a great character as well, and as well Jurgis, who is the guy that is also in the Hostel Part 2, which was my previous review, so check that out if you haven't seen it. But good old Jurgis in this was, he played quite a comedic character, but like I couldn't take him seriously because I was just thinking like about Hostel and like the comedic effect and how he got his chopped off. So I thought it was funny to see him in this film. But like I said, I pretty much enjoyed this film. It was just interesting. It was just fun to kind of go on a journey, find out the mystery, want to know more. Like there was a lot of fun aspects to this, and I would recommend to someone who is a horror fan for sure. And if you can keep up with the gore as well, like this is a good gory film for someone too. So I think a lot of inspiration was taken from this film for many other movies that are being made now. But yeah, like I said, I did enjoy this movie. It was a journey. So I think if I'm gonna rate this, I would rate it like a 5.5 out of 10. Don't get me wrong, I think it, like I said, it was great. The story was great. I wanted to know more, though I think it could have been a bit shorter. I think the ending could have been expanded on a bit more, and I think the route that it took, although it was different, it wasn't my kind of thing. For it to go into like some like demonic devil creature kind of thing wasn't really my thing. I was hoping for it to be a bit more psychological or personal as to why this guy was killing people, but the outcome was still really weird and out of this world, and like I said, it stayed with me for a few days, so it did something to me, which is good. But yeah, that is my review of The Midnight Meat Train. What a fucking title as well, can I just say. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Do not forget to like and subscribe, and I will be doing a review of Cobweb very soon. I'm watching it this weekend when it is released, and I'm very much looking forward to that one. And then the week after we have The Nun 2, some fun releases, and then we've got Saw X after that. So there's going to be some great new releases and reviews coming for all those. I cannot wait. Very, very excited for The Nun 2 for some reason, even though the first one was trash. I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to all of them, and it's hopefully they'll all be really fun, creepy watches, but we will see. Horror nowadays isn't the best, but yeah. Anyway, thank you guys again, and I will see you on my next review.